So far, what we have discussed? So far, we have discussed on basic consolidation, right? It means when there is only one subsidiary, how we can prepare the consolidated statement of, right, financial position or consolidated financial statements. From here onwards, we will discuss, our focus will be on complex groups. It means if there are more than one subsidiary, how can we prepare the consolidated financial statements? Okay, right. We'll do this one with an example. Example number 1. See here, I have not included in these given 4 examples, I have not included any additional information. Why? Because the treatment, the way we treat for these additional informations is the same as what we have discussed previously, right? As if there is a fair value adjustment required as a result of the acquisition, then what we have done? Acquisition එක නිසා fair value assess කරන්න ඕන. fair value assess කරනකොට මොකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? fair value adjustments එන්න පුළුවන්. Then what we have done? We have taken it under non-current assets. And if it is a non-depreciable assets, we don't want, like we need not to worry about anything. But if the fair value adjustment has happened with respect to a depreciable asset, then what we need to do additionally? We need to adjust for under depreciation, right? We need to adjust for under depreciation if there is a fair value adjustment resulted as a part of acquisition with respect to a depreciable asset. So that is one particular additional information we have treated. What else? What else we have met when we are discussing examples in the previous week in basic consolidation? Intercompany sales. Okay, parent and subsidiary එකට වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, subsidiary එකකින් parent වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. There are 2 subsidiaries, 3 subsidiaries, again still they are, but they are subsidiaries, right? The same treatment is applicable there. If there is an intercompany sales transaction from parent to subsidiary or from subsidiary to parent, and if the stock is remaining at the particular party who purchased, then we need to adjust for what? Then we need to find what is the unrealized profit amount embedded in the closing stock, and we need to eliminate that. That is one adjustment for one other additional information we have treated. Unrealized profit, right? So unrealized profit not generated only through the sales of goods, sales of inventories, but through what? It can be in the form of sale of assets. Maybe a motor vehicle, maybe a machine, whatever it is, right? Then in such situations, we need not only to eliminate the unrealized profit amount, there we need to eliminate what? Over depreciation as well. Fatipura ක්‍රියාවක් depreciate වෙලා තියෙනවද මේ transaction එක නිසා, එහෙනම් එන්න ඒ depreciation amount එකත් පොත් වලින් අයින් වෙන්න ඕන. Those types of, right, treatments we have done. Those types of adjustments we have discussed during the last week. And also the intercompany balances, right? Intercompany balances we need to eliminate. So those stuff are not differs here. When it comes to complex consolidation, the ways that we have treated for those additional information is the same here in complex consolidation as well, right? The complex consolidation වලට ආව කියලා, ඒ කියන්නේ subsidiaries දෙකක් හෝ කිහිපයක් console කරන්න යද්දී උනත් අර අපි කතා කරපු treatments, අර අපි කතා කරපු additional informations වලට treat කරන විදිය, අර අපි කතා කරපු unrealized profit හොයාගන්න විදිය, ඒකේ double entries ඒවා වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. The same treatments will be there, right? Okay, so we'll discuss with example number 1. First, I have selected vertical groups. You will understand why we call these vertical groups when we map these information. Information acquisition information map කරද්දී ඔයාලට තේරෙයි ඇයි මේවට vertical groups කියන්නේ කියලා. So this particular note is on vertical groups, right? All these 4 examples will have vertical group structure. In vertical group structure also, there are two things we need to consider. That is, what is acquired first? So here, in example number 1, subsidiary acquired first. It means parent has acquired the subsidiary first. If so, how we can prepare consolidated financial statements? And from example number 3 onwards, it says subsidiary acquired first. Again, parent company subsidiary is acquire කරගන්නව නෙවෙයි. Subsidiary එක තව company එකක් acquire කරගන්නවා පස්සේ අපි ගිහිල්ලා subsidiary එක acquire කරගන්නව නම් we acquire the subsidiary on a later date, right? On a later date. Then how we can prepare consolidated financial statements. Right. Example number 1. Example number 1. Statement of financial position as at 31st December 2018 are as follows. So now we have given the financial statements of 3 companies, P Limited, S Limited, and T Limited. Non-current assets, investment in S, investment in T, current assets, these stuff are given, right? Their balance sheet figures are given. And what they say about the acquisition. On 1st of April 2015, P acquired 75% of S when S Limited's retained earnings stood at 1,000. P has acquired 75% of S. So S becomes a subsidiary for P from this date onwards, 1st of April 2015. Then on 1st of April 2016, S acquired 60% in T when T Limited's retained earnings stood at 600. S has acquired 60% of T, right? It means our subsidiary has acquired more than 50% of this company. Then this also will become what for us? Is also a subsidiary for us. Okay, so this is a bit different to what we have discussed in previous examples. Why? In previous examples, we had only one subsidiary to deal with. කලින් ගණන් examples අපි හතක් කරා. ඒ examples හතේම අපි deal කරේ subsidiaries කීයක් එක විතරද? එක subsidiary company එකක් එක විතරයි. But here we have 2 subsidiary companies. Right. What should be our approach? What is the first thing we need to do here? What is the first thing we need to do here? In previous examples, what we have done at first, calling examples 1 to 7 කතා කරාදී මුලින්ම මොකද්ද කරේ? We have mapped the acquisition information. We have mapped the acquisition information. So here also what we need to do, right? Here also we need to map the given acquisition information. Here also we are doing the same. We need to map the given acquisition information. Right. Okay. Here, what has happened on 1st of April 2015, P has acquired 75% of S when S Limited's retained earnings stood at 1,000. So we need to map that information first. On 1st of April 2015, what has happened? Company P has acquired 75% of S. 75% of S. And as at this date, as at the acquisition date, what else we should know? At what value do they have acquired this 75%? Key 75% acquire karagatte. We should know the investment value, right? The consideration transfer. And what else? As at the date of acquisition, how the net assets of our acquiree was. Acquire karagana dawase meyage net assets kohomada tibbe. So what are the equity components we have here? Why we are considering equity components? Net assets means what? Assets minus liabilities. So assets minus liabilities will lead to what? Equity. So what are the equity components we have here? We have stated capital and retained earnings. Stated capital and retained earnings. Right. Okay. What else? It says here, when S Limited's retained earnings stood at 1,000. As at this acquisition date, the retained earnings amount of S Limited was 1,000. And stated capital, that figure usually does not change. As at 31st December, there is an amount worth of this much with respect to S Limited. Therefore, we can assume the same amount was there as at 1st of April 2015 as 2,000. So this much of total net assets were there as at 1st of April 2015 with respect to S Limited, with respect to our acquiree. What is the investment value? What is the investment value? It is not given under additional information. From where we can find here, investment in S. Investment in S, how much? 6,000. To acquire this 75%, P has paid 6,000. These are rupees 1,000, right? 6,000 to S. The investment value is 6,000. What is missing here? What is missing here? Right? We know the acquisition date and we know who is the acquirer and acquiree. And we also know the acquisition percentage, the investment value we know. And as at the date of acquisition, how the net assets of the acquiree was also we have determined. What is missing? Yes, NCI. NCI. So here, when we have two or more subsidiaries, we should not panic with this. Right? NCI. Yes. Value element අපිට කියනවා 75% high, 25% of this should be NCI. Yes, that is correct. But will leave this NCI value. We will determine this NCI value after we determine the group structure. අපි හරියටම group structure එක ඇහැට දැක්කට පස්සේ NCI එක can කරලා මෙතනට දාන්න. Right? Because here we have two subsidiaries. Subsidiaries දෙකක් තියෙද්දි ඔක කැල්වෙන විදිය percentage එහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක නිසා අපි දැනට මෙයාම මේ විදියට තියමු. Right? Once we have determined the group structure and once we have determined the effective holding and NCI percentages, then we can get the value here, the NCI value. Okay. Right. So that is what was happened on 1st of April 2015. Then what it says? On 1st of April 2016, S acquired 60% in T. On 1st of April 2016, on 1st of April 2016, what has happened? Our subsidiary S has acquired, what is the percentage? 60% in T. What is the value? How much they have invested for this? Here investment in T. Here investment in T by S Limited. How much? 2,000. 2,000. As at the date of acquisition, the net assets of T Limited. Retained earnings තිබිලා තියෙනවලු 600. Retained earnings stood at 600. What about the stated capital? Stated capital කීයක් තිබිලාද? That is 1,000. T Limited stated capital, that is 1,000. Stated capital කියන මොකුත් කියපු නැති නිසා අපි assume කරනවා මොකද්ද? මෙදා තිබ්බ එක මෙන්න මෙදා තියෙන්න ඇති. That is why we have taken 1,000 here. So what about the total net assets? That is 1,600. Here also what is missing? What is missing? NCI. NCI value. We need to determine. Right. And we are preparing our financial statements as at which date? 31st December. 31st December 2018. This is where we prepare our financial statements. Now see, there are two acquisitions. Therefore, we need to determine the group structure. Group structure. Group structure. Hope you can remember we have discussed some complex situations as well. Right? If P has acquired S, S has acquired T, T has acquired this much of percentage of X, and P also has acquired this much of percentage of X. Likewise, we have discussed. So that is what we need to figure out here. Draw here. Right. What has happened? P has acquired 75% of S. P means our parent company, right? P has acquired 75% of S. 75% of S. Then on a later date, what has happened? S, our subsidiary, has acquired 60% of T. Our subsidiary has acquired 60% of T. This is why we call, this is what? Vertical group structure. See, vertical group structure. But usually in normal circumstances, we say this is what? Vertical group structure. Vertical group structure. Right. So here, hope you can remember this. Right. On the second day, we have discussed this. Right. By looking at this group structure, now tell me who are the subsidiaries for us? Us means P company. This is our company now, P Limited. Right. So who are the subsidiaries for P? Peter, then subsidiary companies kiyak tiyanawada? Yes, S is the subsidiary, and our subsidiary can control T Limited. It means, right, we also can control T, therefore T is also a subsidiary for us. Our subsidiary companies dekai, ekak S, anith එක T. If we take S Limited company, what is the effective holding percentage? These things we have computed already. මීට වඩා අමාරු ගණන් වල effective holding NCI percentage අපි calc කරා. මීට වඩා අමාරු group structures වල. So what is the effective holding percentage of S Limited? That is 75%. That is 75%. If the effective holding percentage is 75%, what should be the NCI percentage? Non-controlling interest percentage should be how much? that is 25%. අපි parent company shareholder 175ක් අයිති නම් other shareholders ට යන්නේ 125ක් විතරයි. Then what about T? What is the effective holding percentage of T? What should be the effective holding percentage of T Limited? T means subsidiary. In consolidation purpose, yes, it is a subsidiary for us. What should be it? Is it 60% here? No, 60% means the control, right? Effective hold. Group financial statements are that T effective holding percentage 60%. But here we prepare group financial statements for P Limited. P Limited group, yes, 75% into 60%. 75% into 60%. That is 45%. With respect to T Limited, the effective holding percentage is 45%. If so, what should be the NCI percentage? That is 55%. That is 55%. Now we can determine the NCI values. Complex consolidation NCI after determining what is the group structure and how the effective holding and NCI percentages should be, then we can determine the NCI value. Right. If we take S Limited, what should be the NCI value now? 3,000 worth of net assets. 3,000 worth of net assets. What should be the NCI percentage here? S Limited NCI percentage is how much? 25%. 25%. So 3,000 into 25%, what should be the NCI value then? We are using proportionate method. Right? The fair value is not given, then we need to go for the proportionate method. So what is the NCI value here? 750. 750. Right. So here T is also a subsidiary for us. Therefore, we need to determine the NCI value. Subsidiary එකක් නම් එයාගේ NCI value එක අපි දැනගන්න ඕන. What is the NCI value here? Net assets of T Limited as at this date is 1,600. Into what percentage? 40%, 55%. What should be the percentage that we need to apply here? Percentage value key. We have two options now. What? One, we can take 40% here and we can take 55% here. Out of those two options, what is the correct option? What is the appropriate or what is required to be done? 40% to 55%. But 40% or 55%? No, that should be 55%. That should be 55%. ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ NCI ගන්න හදිසි වෙන්න එපා කියලා. හදිසිනොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? එකපාර මැප් කරපු එකේ මේකේ 60% නම් NCI 40% කියලා මෙතනට ගන්න තියෙන ඉඩ වැඩි. Right? That is why we need to wait till we finish this table as well. Till we have determined effective holding and NCI percentages. So we need to take 55%, this one. That is why we determine these percentages. Right? 1,600 into 55%. මෙතන මේ 40% කියලා කියන්නේ SKNCI. S Limited එකේ group financial statements හදනවා, yes, then 40%. But here we are preparing financial statements for P Limited group. එතකොට අපිට 40% කියලා කියන්න බෑ. අපිට 55%. 1,600 into 55%, that should be 880. 880. Yes, 880 NCI value. Right. So we have completed what? We have mapped and completed. We have completed the mapping of acquisition information. Acquisition information api map karla ivara. So here, when it comes to complex consolidation, these two are also very important. Group structure, and then based on it, determine this effective holding and NCI percentages. Calling examples වල කතා කරේ නැති මේකට විතරක් විශේෂ වෙච්ච දෙක මොකද්ද? Group structure and the allocation of effective holding and NCI percentages. So always have these workings in yours, like when you are doing these sums. එතකොට ආයි තනින් තන ආයි කැල්කුලේට් කරලා බලන්න ඕනේ NCI කීයද මෙයාගේ NCI කීයද කියලා. So have it, and then always you can refer for these two. Okay, so we have that. Then what is next? Then what we have done in the previous examples, in basic consolidation, we have what? We have ruled this, isn't it? We have ruled for this. We need to prepare consolidated statement of financial position, then rule for it. And also we need to have a working. Now here, when it comes to the working, consolidation working, how many columns we should have? This one also I have highlighted. How many columns we should have? Apart from the description column. In the description column, arrange. column arrange columns how many? Yes, we need to have 5 columns. Why? For each subsidiary, we should have 2 columns. Why 2 columns? To calculate goodwill and to calculate NCI. Therefore, a subsidiary කට goodwill, right? A subsidiary goodwill එක calculate කරන්න column එකක් ඕන. NCI එක calculate කරන්න column එකක් ඕන. So here we have how many subsidiaries? We have 2 subsidiaries. It means for S and for T, we should have 2 columns each. And to calculate the group retained earnings, we need to have a separate column. So altogether, we should have 5 columns. 5. Right. Okay. Here we'll have the description. Goodwill of S and NCI of S. What is the other subsidiary? T Limited, no? So goodwill of T. NCI of T. Retained earnings. So these are the 5 columns we need to have. With respect to subsidiary S, we should compute goodwill and NCI separately. With respect to company or the subsidiary T, we need to compute goodwill and NCI separately. Apart from that, we should have the group retained earnings column. Okay. In the statement of financial position, we should have non-current assets. Investment values will get set off, will be eliminated. Goodwill deductive, then current assets. Current assets, then we can have total assets. Total assets. And as equity, we have stated capital and retained earnings. we have liabilities. Total equity and liabilities. Here also, I have not taken up here, but here also these two, right? The summation of these two should be what? Equity attributable to parent company shareholders. For that, we need to add NCI, right? So මේ තුනේම එකතුව තමයි මොකක් වෙන්නේද? Equity කියලා කියන්නේ. මේ දෙන්න equity attributable to parent company shareholders. When we add NCI for that, that will provide us the total equity value. Total equity plus liabilities should be equals to our total assets at the end. Right. Okay. Now you know. On අපි roll කරගෙනත් ඉවරයි. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? Then what we need to do? Okay, here we'll take that post action one as well. Post acquisition of is limited. Now we have two companies, no? And here we'll take post acquisition of S, post acquisition of T. Two subsidiaries post acquisition amount. Right. Then what we need to do? We have completed mapping the acquisition information and we have rule for the sum. Then what we need to do? Then with respect to assets and liabilities, what we need to do? With respect to assets and liabilities, what we need to do? Assets and liabilities, we need to do the line by line addition. Hope you can remember the consolidation procedure. There, with respect to assets and liabilities, we need to do line by line addition, right? Okay, non-current assets. Non-current assets, here parent company amount is 12,000, S limited 5,000, T limited 4,000. So altogether it should be how much? 21,000. 21,000 worth of non-current assets. Goodwill will take from working number 1. Current assets, what? 2,000 plus S limited 300 plus T limited 1,700. That should be 4,000. Here, follow the procedure. Okay. With respect to stated capital, what we do? With respect to stated capital, what we do? We consider what? Parent company's year-end amount. Parent company ke year-end amount එක අපි ගත්තේ කෙලින්ම කීයද? In here, in this case, what is the parent company's year-end amount? That is 11,000. 11,000. Retained earnings will take from working number 1. NCI value also will take from working number 1. Liabilities, line by line addition, 4,000 plus this plus. If you are not unclear on anything, please let me know. Right. So far, what we have done, අපි කලින් සතියේ කතා කරපු දේවල් ටිකම තමයි මේ කරන්නේ. Right? Okay, assets and liabilities, we have done line by line addition, and with respect to stated capital, we have considered the parent company's year-end amount. Then what? What next? Now we can calculate the goodwill. Now we can compute the goodwill. Okay. Right. how we have computed goodwill. So we have two subsidiaries. For each subsidiary, we will calculate the goodwill separately. Then අපිට මෙතන subsidiaries දෙකක් තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට ඔය subsidiary දෙකම අපි මොකක් කරගෙන තියෙන්නේ? acquire කරගෙනනේ. එතකොට subsidiaries දෙකට අපි වෙන වෙනම goodwill එක cal කරන්න ඕන. We'll take the S Limited company, the acquisition of S Limited. So there, how much of a goodwill has been generated? That is what we are going to compute. How to compute goodwill? කොහොමද goodwill එක cal කරන්නේ? How we have computed goodwill? කොහොමද? අපි formula එකකට දැම්මෝ. goodwill එක කොහොමද cal කරන්නේ? කොහොමද? How? Yes, investment plus NCI minus net assets. Investment of, then අපිට subsidies දෙකක් තියෙනවානේ. අපි ඒක වෙන වෙනම ගන්නවා. Investment of, first we will consider S. Investment of S, NCI of S, net assets of S. S के विशेषण mention करें because we have two subsidiaries in this case. Subsidiaries දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට investment කියලා දැම්මොත් මේක S කේද T කේද කියලා අපිට හරියටම හොයාගන්න ඕන නිසා. Investment in S. Right. T යක් invest කරලා තියෙනවා. What is the investment value? What is the investment value? Investment in S, that is what? 6,000. That is 6,000. So that is the figure we are going to consider here. 6,000. What about the NCI? We have computed here. See, 750 rupees. 750 debit to cost of control account and credit to NCI account. NCI. What about net assets? That is 3,000. 3,000. Deduct 3,000 here. So what is the goodwill value through this acquisition? That is 3,750. 3,750. අලුත් දෙයක් මුත් කරාද නේ? අපි කලින් දන්න දේම තමයි. Investment plus NCI minus net assets. Right. And here we have another acquisition. This one. We have acquired T as well, but T has acquired through whom? Through S we have acquired T. අපි directly invest කරලා නෙවෙයි. අපේ subsidiary එක හරහා invest කරලා තමයි අපි T acquire කරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. Anyway, T also a subsidiary for us now. Then T කියලා කියන්නේත් අපිට කවුද? Subsidiary එක. Okay. Investment. This time not S. Investment in T. NCI in T. Net assets in T. Those are the figures we need to consider. Right. මොන column එකටද යන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ columns දෙකට. Investment in T. What is the figure we need to consider here? Investment in T. Investment in T කියලා කියන්නේ here you can see 2,000, right? Debit the credit the මෙතන නම් මේ debit නේ තියෙන්නේ. So we, in order to eliminate this, what we need to do? We need to credit it. ඔන්න credit කරා 2,000 අයින් වෙලා ගියා මේ account එකේ. Right? Investment account credit. Okay. Where to debit? Where to debit? Can we put 2,000 directly here? That is my question. Can we do it as this? Can we do it like this? මට කෙලින්ම 2000ට loss දාලා මෙතට දාගන්න පුළුවන්ද? අපි මේ හදන්නේ කවුරු විදියටද? P limited group. P limited group. P limited group. Can we put this 2,000 directly here? We can't. Why? See, S to acquire 60% of T. How the may investment take a karani? How the S Limited. S Limited has invested 2,000 to acquire 60% of T. S Limited කියලා කියන්නේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අපිද නෑ එයාගෙන් 175ක් විතරයි අපිට අයිති. එතකොට මෙයා 2000ක් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරා කියන්නේ අපි 2000ක්ම ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරා නෙවෙයි. මේ 2000න් හරිනම් කීයක් විතරද අපේ? අපිට මේ 2000න් කන්ට්‍රෝල් එක තියෙන්නේ කීයක විතරද? 75% of this 2000, right? 75% of this 2000. 75% of this, that is 1,500. That is 1,500. එතකොට මේ මොකක්ද උනේ? Investment account credit 2,000, cost of control account debit 1,500. එතකොට ඉතුරු 500 debit කරන්නේ කොහාටද? මේ 2000න් නේ S limited මේ invest කරපු 2000න් 1,500ක් අපේ. හරිනේ මෙයාගේ 175ක් අපේ. එහෙනම් මේ 2000න් 1,500ක් අපේ. ඉතුරු 500 කාගේද? ඉතුරු 500 කාගේද? කොහටද යන්න ඕන? කාටද debit වෙන්න ඕන? Now you should be able to answer it. To whom we should debit the rest of the 500? ඉතුරු 500 කාගේද? That should be, yes, ඒක කාගේද? ඒක other shareholders ලගේ. ඒක other shareholders ලගේ. other shareholders ලා පෙන්නන්නේ කොතනද? Here. NCI of S. NCI of S should be debited by 500. Debit කරාම මෙහෙම දැම්මදින් හරිද? No, that is wrong. Debit කරන මොකද කරන්න ඕන? This is a credit balance account. NCI means an equity component, no? So this is a credit account. So to debit a credit account, what we need to do? We need to deduct. This is how it should be. Right? This is how it should be. අපිට කෙලින්ම 2000ම ගෙනල්ලා මෙතෙන්ට ඩෙබිට් කරන්න බෑ. ඇයි? 2000ම ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරලා තියෙන්නේ අපි නෙවෙයි. අපිට S ගෙන් ආйти 175ක් විතරයි. එතකොට මේ S ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරපු එකෙන් 175ක් විතරයි අපිට ඩෙබිට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපේ cost of control account එකට. ඉතුරු 125 should be allocated to our other shareholders. It means NCI of S, right? NCI of S. Right. Okay. We'll say like this. We are happy make kawuru Mona company, then we have 3 companies here, no? P company, S company, T company. එතකොට අපි දන්න දේ මොකද්ද? subsidiary එකක් තියෙනම නම් එයා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම group financial statements හදන්න ඕනේ. මෙතන subsidiaries තියෙන companies කීයක් තියෙනවද? දෙකක් ඉන්නවා. කවුද? එකක් P limited. P limited ගත්තොත් එයාට subsidiaries දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එකක් S, අනිත් එක T. S කියන company ගත්තොත් එයාට එක subsidiary එකක් තියෙනවා T. එතකොට මෙයා group financial statements හදන්න ඕන. P company එකත් group financial statements හදන්න ඕන. මේ ගානේ අපි group financial statements හදන්නේ කවුරු විදිහටද? We prepare group financial statements as P limited, right? We prepare P limited group financial statements. එතකොට මේ companies දෙකම combine කරලා තමයි අපි මේ group financial statements හදන්නේ. Okay? So we are here. We are the company P. එතකොට අපි තමයි company P එකේ accountant හරි finance manager හරි ඔය හදන එක කියලා. Okay? Right. And when computing goodwill, what we do? Investment plus NCI minus net assets. So here, when we compute the goodwill generated through this acquisition, මෙන්න මේ acquisition එකේදී generate වෙච්ච goodwill එක cal කරන්න ඕන. Right? Here we have not directly invested in T. අපි කෙලින්ම T ಗೆ invest කරලද? No, we have not. We have invested in T company through our subsidiaries. අපේ S හරහා තමයි අපේ subsidiary එක through තමයි අපි T ව acquire කරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. We have acquired T through our subsidiary. Right? So here investment to acquire this 60% of T, S Limited has invested how much? 2,000. See, investment in T. අපි කීයක්වත් invest කරලාද නැහැ. කවුද invest කරලා තියෙන්නේ? S Limited. S Limited has invested 2,000 to acquire who? To acquire T. එතකොට T ගේ මේ 60% ගන්න S Limited තමයි 2,000 acquire කරලා 2,000 invest කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? It is not us but S Limited. S Limited has invested 2,000. එතකොට අපි මෙන්න මේ 2,000 කෙලින්ම මෙතෙන්ට දාගත්තොත් මොකද්ද ඒකේ අයිඩියා එක? It is like we directly have invested 2,000. අපි තමයි 2,000ම invest කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියන එක තමයි එතකොට අයිඩියා එක වෙන්නේ. But it is not the case no. P Limited parent company නෙවෙයිනේ කෙලින්ම 2,000ක් invest කරලා තියෙන්නේ. 2,000 invest කරලා තියෙන්නේ S Limited. අපේ subsidiary එක. එතකොට subsidiary එකෙන් S Limited එකෙන් අපිට කොච්චර control එකක් තියෙනවද? S Limited කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ subsidiary එක. අපේ subsidiary එකෙන් අපිට control එක තියෙනවා 75%. S ගේ 75ක් අපිට control කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ එයා invest කරන amount එකෙනුත් අපිට කීයක control එක තියෙනවද? එයා මේ invest කරන 2,000 එනුත් අපිට තියෙනවා 75ක control එක. 2,000 into 75% means 1,500. එතකොට cost of control account එකට ගේන්න පුළුවන් අපිට control එක තියෙන amount එක විතරයි. අපිට control කරන්න පුළුවන් amount එක විතරයි. එතකොට මේ 2,000ම අපිට control එක නැහැ. අපිට control එක තියෙන්නේ 1,500ක විතරයි. එයා විතරක් ඒක නිසා අපි cost of control account එක debit කරනවා. එතකොට මේ 2,000න් 75ක් අපේ ඉතුරු 125ක් කාගේද? Other shareholders of S. Other shareholders of S are reflected where? In NCI. That is why we debited it to NCI of S. Right? That is why we debited it to NCI of S. එතකොට මේ S Limited invest කරන 2,000න් අපිට control එක තියෙන 75ක් විතරයි. That 75% we have debited to our cost of control account and the remaining 25% we have debited to NCI of S. Okay. Okay, hope you got it. Right. Then the remaining stuff, NCI and net assets of T Limited. What about NCI? NCI of T Limited is how much? 808. I will say this is 3. 1, 2, 3 kill them if you don't need it. 1 here, 2, 3, 4 is this one. This is we have considered that 4. NCI, the value is 808. NCI value 880. Cost of control account debit, NCI account credit. Goodwill of T, NCI of T. Net asset value, that is 1,600. That is 1,600. 1,600. What we need to do? Right, credit here. 1,600. Deduct from the deduct when determining the goodwill value. So here investment plus NCI minus net assets. So what should be the goodwill generated? That is 780. 780. True, right? On this acquisition, the goodwill generated for the group company is 3,750, and due to this acquisition, the goodwill generated for the group is 780. Right? 780 goodwill generated to the group. Group eකට generate වෙච්ච goodwill එක 780. Right. Then what else we need to do? තව මොනවද කරන්න තියෙන්නේ? What else? So far what we have done, first we have mapped the acquisition information. On acquisition information ටික map කරා. Then rule කරන ඉක්මනට කරනවා. Then what we have done? Line by line addition. With respect to assets and liabilities, we have done line by line addition, and stated capital we have considered parent company's year-end amount. Then as third step, what we have done, we have computed the goodwill. So here we have two subsidiaries, so we have computed goodwill separately for the two separate acquisitions. And then what we need to do, what? Now you know what? Post acquisition. We need to consider the post acquisition. Right. As at, we are preparing financial statements on this date. Retained earnings as at 31st December 2018 of S Limited. That is 2,500. 2,500. Retained earnings as at acquisition. Acquire කරගන්න දවසේ retained earnings කීයක් තිබ්බද? Acquire කරගන්න දවසේ retained earnings කීයක් තිබ්බද? Retained earnings as at acquisition, that is 1,000. That is 1,000. So what should be the post acquisition amount? What should be the post acquisition amount? කීයක් තිබ්බද? 2,500 තිබ්බා. අද වෙනකොට acquire කරගන්න දවසේ 1000යි. ඒ කියන්නේ acquire කරගත්තට පස්සේ profits හොයලා තියෙනවා කීයකද? 1,500. 1,500. This 1,500 we need to allocate between whom? Between parent company shareholders and NCI. Between parent company shareholders and NCI. Right. Retained earnings of S. Retained earnings of S. Parent company to kiyak yanawada? Parent company means group retained earnings, no? Out of this 1,500, what should be the percentage that need to be allocated to group retained earnings? Parent company shareholders rata kiyak yanawada? With respect to S Limited, what is the effective holding percentage? That is 75%. 75% to group retained earnings. Remaining 25% to whom? NCI of S. NCI of S. Remaining 25%. Likewise, we need to consider the post acquisition of our other subsidiary as well. T Limited. T Limited. Retained earnings as at 31st December 2018. Retained earnings as at 31st December 2018 of T Limited, that is what? 1,000. That is 1,000. Acquire කරගන්න දවසේ කීයක් තිබ්බද? මේ තියෙන්නේ. Acquire කරගන්න දවසේ තිබිලා තියෙනවා 600. With respect to T Limited, as at the acquisition date, the retained earnings stood at 600. So what should be the post acquisition amount? That is 400. That is 400. 400 need to be allocated between whom? Parent company shareholders and other shareholders. Retained earnings of T. Parent company shareholders කියලා කියන්නේ group retained earnings වලට යන්නේ. එතන තමයි parent company shareholders ලගේ profits පෙන්නන්නේ. So out of this 400, what is the percentage we need to consider there? 100ට කීයක්ද? ඔය 400. ඒ කියන්නේ T ව acquire කරගත්තට පස්සේ 400ක profits හොයලා. acquire කරගත්තට පස්සේ 400ක profits හොයලා. ඔය 400න් 100ට කීයක් consider කරන්න පුළුවන්ද parent company shareholders ට? Yes, that is 45%. ඒකයි අපි මෙහෙම වෙනම working එකක් කරන්නේ. Right? By looking at this easily we can determine effective holding percentage of T Limited. ඒ කියන්නේ parent company shareholders ට යන්න ඕන T Limited ලගේ 45%. 45%. Remaining 55% to whom? NCI of T. NCI of T. NCI of T. Remaining 55%. Remaining 55% to NCI of T. Yes, correct. What else? Post acquisition amounts tikat hari subsidies wala, then what? We need to take parent companies year end amount, right? Retained earnings of parent companies year end amount. That is what? Parent company is P Limited retained earnings as at 31st December 2018, that is 5,000. 5,000. Okay. So we have done with it. We have done. Okay, we'll take the figures here, final figures. NCI of S. Of goodwill we have find this value. NCI of T. Group retained earnings. So these are the final figures. Right. Non-current assets, were there any adjustments? No. Adjustments in the how can we adjust? How adjustments can be there? Acquisition එකේදී මොකක් හරි fair value එකේ අගේ වැඩි වුණා නම් there was a fair value adjustment. This figure need to be adjusted, right? And if it was a depreciable asset, then for the under depreciation we need to adjust. If there was a intercompany, right, intercompany sale of assets, then this figure may need to be adjusted, but here we have not given any other additional information. So we can consider 21,000 as it is, as our final figure. What about goodwill? We have two goodwills now. See, අපි companies දෙකක් acquire කරගෙන එතකොට acquisition දෙකට goodwills දෙකක් generate වෙලා 3,750 and 780. One is this 3,750 plus this one. So total goodwill value should be 4,530. Current assets not changed, no, 4,000, no any adjustments. So total assets should be how much? 29,530. 29,530 total assets. Retained earnings, that is 6,305. From the working we can take, that is 6,305. NCI of S 625 plus NCI of T, that is 1,100. Altogether 1,725. Liabilities, no any adjustments were there, so it is 10,500. So total equity and liabilities should be what? 29,530. Only thing compared to the previous examples we discussed was what here, right? මෙතනත් මම logic එක කිව්වා. ඇයි අපි ගෙලින් 2000 ගන්න නැතුව 1500ක් විතරක් ගත්තේ කියලා. 175ක් විතරක් ගත්තේ කියලා. 2000ම අපි ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරන එක නෙවෙයි. අපේ සබ්සිඩි එක 2000ක් ඉන්වෙස්ට් කරනවා කියලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට සබ්සිඩි එකෙන් අපිට කන්ට්‍රෝල් එක තියෙන 175ක් විතරයි. ඒකයි අපි 2000න් 175ක් විතරක් මෙතනට කන්සිඩර් කරේ. ඉතුරු 125 belongs to other shareholders. That is why we debited it to NCI of S. Right. Apart from that, all the other stuff are right follows the same way. Clear? Right. Okay, so now the time is 10. We'll take a short break and we'll come back by 10:50. Right? Please come back by 10:50. Okay, come back by 10:50. Okay, on 1st of April 2015, S Limited has acquired 80% of T for 2,000, and as at the date of acquisition, the net assets of the T Limited was as this: stated capital 1,000, retained earnings 400, and we should also compute the NCI value as well. What else? On 1st of April 2016. 1st of April 2016 means somewhere here. 1st of April 2016. What has happened? T acquired 60% in S when S Limited's retained earnings stood at 800. P acquired 60% in S. Company P has acquired 60% in S. දැනටමත් S ට මොකක්ද? දැනටමත් S ට subsidiary එකක් තියෙනවා. What is the subsidy they have? That is T. එහෙම subsidiary එකක් තියෙන S ව අපි acquire කරගන්නව කවද්ද? On 1st of April 2016. Right? We acquire 60% of S. And when S Limited's retained earnings stood at 800, here also we should know the investment value, the NCI value, and the net assets. Net assets, the two components we have here in this sum are what? Stated capital and retained earnings. Retained earnings stood at 800 as at the acquisition date. What about the stated capital? That is 3,000. S Limited's stated capital 3,000. So altogether that is 3,800. Right. What can you say about the group structure now? Group structure. S has acquired T, then what happens? T has acquired S. S T ව acquire කරගත්තට පස්සේ ඒ acquisition එක වෙන්නේ මෙදානේ. ඊට පස්සේ දවසක තමයි මොකක් වෙන්නේද? parent company එක ගිහිල්ලා මෙන්න මෙයාව P company එක ගිහිල්ලා මෙන්න මෙයාව acquire කර ගන්න. Then how should be the group structure? මෙහෙම ලිව්වොත් හරියද? S has acquired 80% of T. Then මෙහෙම කියලා ලිව්වොත් හරියද? No, right? So how it should be then? අන්තිමට බැලුවොත් මේ මොකද්ද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? අපි අද ඉඳන් බලනවා නම් we are preparing financial statements as at 31st December 2018. මෙදා ඉඳන් බලනවා අපිට මොකද්ද පේන්නේ? P has acquired what 60% of S and S has acquired 80% of T. This is what we can see now. මේකනේ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. P S acquire කරගෙන S T acquire කරනවා. හැබැයි acquisition වෙච්ච දවස් මොකක් වෙලාද? කලින් examples වලට වඩා වෙනස්. කලින් එකේ මේ order එකට මේ විදිහටම acquisition වුණා. ඉස්සෙල්ලා මොකක්ද උනේ? P initially has acquired S and then on a later date S has acquired T. But here what is the difference? Here first the acquisition of subsidiary has happened. First our S company has acquired T, then only on a later date P company has acquired S. එතකොට PST කියන group එක හැදෙන්නේ කවද්ද? On when? And here also we will determine these values as well. Company, effective holding percentage, and NCI percentage. The two subsidiaries we have here are S and T. In S company, what is the effective holding percentage? That is 60%, and in the NCI percentage should be 40%. T company, effective holding percentage 60% into 80%, that is 48%. Here it is 52%. Right. What was my question? This one. PST. So here we have this group, no? PST group. මෙන්න මේ group එක හැදෙන්නේ කවද්ද? ST කියන group එක හැදෙනව කවද්ද? ST group has been formed on 1st of April 2015. PS කියන group එක හැදෙනව කවද්ද? PS group has been formed on 1st of April 2016. But my question is, when we can establish, when is the establishment date of this particular group? PST. ඔය තුන් දෙනාම එකතු කරන්නේ අපි හදන්නේ. එතකොට PST ඇති උනේ කවද්ද? P company එකයි S company එකයි T company එකයි එක රවුමක් ඇතුළට ආවේ කවද්ද? Is it 1st of April 2015 or 1st of April 2016 or 31st December 2018? මේ දෙන්න එක රවුමක්, මේ තුන් දෙනාම එක රවුමක් ඇතුළට ආවේ කවද්ද? එක group එකක් විදියට consider කරන්න පුළුවන් කවද ඉඳන්? But from which date? Yes, from 1st of April 2014. මෙන්න මෙදා ඉඳන් තමයි මේ තුන් දෙනා කවුරු වෙන්නේද? එක්කෙනෙක් වෙන්නේ. මේ තුන් දෙනාම එක්කෙනෙක් වෙන්නේ from 1st of April 2016, right, onwards. Then simply these informations, right, may acquisition information අපිට ඕනද? These acquisition information we can disregard. Why? Acquisition එක වෙන්නේ මේ තුන් දෙනාම එක group එකක් වෙන්නේ on this date, not on 1st of April 2015. Yes, S has acquired T on this date, but these three become one group from this date onwards. Right? එතකොට parent company ඇවිල්ලා acquire කරගත්තට පස්සේ ඉඳන් තමයි අපි consider කරන්න ඕන. Then their investment value is what? I will take it like this. It means, right, these acquisition information, again, we need to consider on this date. Why? T, the P, api P limited ni we are company P limited, right? So P limited method nan tamai api financial statements me hadanne yan. එතකොට අපිට S subsidy එකක් උනේ කවද්ද 1st of April 2016 අපිට T වත් subsidy එකක් වෙලා තියෙන කවද්ද එතකොට from 1st of April 2016 S acquire කරගන්නකොට එතකොට ඒත් එක්කම අපිට හම්බ වෙනවා කවුද T වත් ඇයි T දැනටමත් S ගේ subsidiary එකක් එතකොට we need to consider the acquisition date as what for P limited the acquisition of T need to be considered as again 1st of April 2016 right so there this one 80% has acquired of T what is the investment value that is 2000 right NCI we need to determine what about the net assets the two components are stated capital and retained earnings. Stated capital value is a change but retained earnings should be what? We should know the retained earnings as at this date. Retained earnings of T. Api meda retained earnings tanaganno. Meda idan tamai T company ekat card subsidy ak wenneda. P කියන අපේ කම්පැනියට T subsidy එකක් වෙන්නේ කවද ඉඳන්ද from 1st of April 2016 therefore we should know the retained earnings amount of T as at 1st of April 2016 kiyada they have given on 1st of April 2016 P acquired 60% in S when S limited's retained earnings stood at 800 and T limited's retained earnings stood at 600 on this date. So it is 600 here. This is how we need to consider when they have acquired sub-subsidiary first. Sellama subsidiary එක නැතුව sub-subsidiary එක acquire කරගත්තොත් right මේ තුන් දෙනාම අපේ group එක ඇතුළට එන්නේ කවද්ද that is we need to consider as the acquisition date so we as per this we have acquired S and T on this particular date this is the acquisition date right this one the effective holding percentages two subsidiaries 60%, 40%, 48% and 52%. NCI value. Here what should be the NCI value? 3,800 into what is the NCI percentage of S limited? That is 40%. So it should be what then? 3,800 into 40%, 1,520. 1,520. Here, what should be the NCI value? 1,600. Menne meda net assets tamai consider wenna ona. That is 1,600, not this 1,400, right? Net asset value is 1,600 as at this acquisition date into NCI percentage that is 52%. So 1,600 into 52% that should be what? 832. 832. So we are preparing consolidated financial statements for P group, P limited group. Then company S has been acquired on 1st of April 2016. Company S has previously acquired company T, but we cannot consider that date. We need to consider the acquisition information related to 1st of April 2016. Right. Okay, so here we have mapped the acquisition information. And you need to rule for this. Right, consolidated statement of financial position. Consolidated statement of financial position of P Limited Group as at 31st December 2018. 31st December 2018. Non-current assets, right? Hope these are the things there. This non-current assets investment values will get cancelled. Goodwill, then current assets. Yes. In our working, what should be the columns here? Description. We have two subsidiaries, therefore to calculate goodwill and NCI of these two companies, we should have two separate columns. Goodwill of T, NCI of T, and then row retained earnings. We need to compute post-acquisition profits of S as well as post-acquisition, right, retained earnings of T Limited as well. Assets and liabilities, we can do what? Line by line addition. Line by line addition. Assets and liabilities. If you take non-current assets, P Limited has 15,000, S Limited has 5,000, T Limited has 4,000. Altogether, that is what? 15,000 plus 5,000 plus 4,000. That is 24,000. Current goodwill we will take from the working number 1. Current assets, parent company 2,000, S Limited 2,500, T Limited again 2,000. Altogether 6,500 worth of current assets are there. Equity, stated capital, we consider what? Parent company's year-end amount. Parent company is P Limited, year-end amount that is 14,000. 14,000. Retained earnings will take from working number 1 and also NCI from working number 1. And when you are doing, right, please make sure that the sum of these two should be represented as what? Disclosed as what? Equity attributable to parent company shareholders. That is the requirement in SLFRS 10. For that figure, you need to add NCI, then it will be the total equity. Liabilities, parent company 6,000, subsidiary S 4,000, subsidiary T again 4,000, 14,000 altogether. Right. Okay, so now we can calculate goodwill. First we will calculate the goodwill of acquisition of S. මෙන්න මේ acquisition එකේදී generate වෙච්ච goodwill එක calculate. Right. Investment in S plus NCI of S minus net assets of S. Investment in S, what is the value? I have not put it here. No? Investment in S, what is the value? Investment in S. Investment in S here. That is 8,000. 8,000. Here it is 8,000. Right. Investment value 8,000. NCI value 1,520. Net assets 1,520. We need to take here as well. Net assets, that is 3,800 minus 3,800. Therefore, what is the goodwill generated there through this acquisition? Goodwill worth of 5,720 has been generated through this acquisition. Okay. Right. Then we have acquired T as well, but that is through S. Through our subsidiary, we have established the control over T. That is how the T has become a subsidiary for us. There also we need to compute the goodwill generated. Investment in T, NCI of T, and net assets of T. Investment in T here. What is the investment value? That is, here it is 2,000, but this 2,000 has been invested by whom? This 2,000 has been invested by S, not directly by P. එතකොට අපිට S company කීයක control එකක් තියෙනවද? 100ට කීයක control එකක් තියෙනවද? මේක හරියට මොකද්ද? This is like what? Right? The person P may have given a loan of 60 to this person. රුපියල් 60ක මෙන්න මෙයාට loan එකක් දෙනවා. මෙයා 100ක loan එකක් දෙනවා මෙයාට. එතකොට මෙයාට කියන්න පුළුවන්ද ඔය 100ම මම තමයි දුන්නේ කියලා? බෑ. ඒකෙන් 60ක් විතරයි මෙයාට. ඉතුරු 40 කාගේද? ඉතුරු 40 මෙයා වෙන කාගෙන් හරි ණයට ගත්ත එක වෙන්නේ නැති. The same thing applies here. මේ 2000ම අපිට කියන්න බෑ මම තමයි දුන්නේ කියලා. Right? මේ 2000ම අපිට කියන්න බෑ P company තමයි දුන්නේ කියලා. Okay? So the other shareholders also have contributed to this. එතකොට අපේ portion එකයි අනිත් shareholders दा portion එකයි දෙකම මෙතනින් මොකක් වෙනවද? මොකක් වෙන්න ඕනද? Reflect වෙන්න ඕන. So out of this 2,000, what is the amount that can be claimed by the parent company? Yes, 60%. අපිට මෙයාගේ 60% විතරනේ. එහෙනම් මෙයා මොකක් හරි transaction එකකින් අපිට වගේ ගන්න පුළුවන් 100ට කීයකට විතරද? 100ට 60කට විතර. right? මෙයා ගිහලා asset එකක් ගත්තත් ඔය asset එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අපේ කියන්න බෑ. ඒ asset එකෙන් 100ට 60ක් විතරක් අපේ. Right. So out of this 2,000, 60% should be debited to cost of control account of T. That is 2,000 into 60%, 1,200. 1,200. Then the remaining 800 need to be debited to whom? Other shareholders. Right? Other shareholders. අපි මෙයාට 60ක loan එකක් දෙනවා. මෙයා ගිහිල්ලා 100ක loan එකක් දෙනවා මෙයාට. එතකොට මේ 100ම අපි දුන්නා නෙවෙයි. අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් මේ දීපු 100න් 60ක් විතරක් අපේ. එහෙනම් ඉතුරු 40 මොකක්ද මෙයා කරලා ඇත්තේ? අනිත් අය කාගෙන් හරි වෙන කාගෙන් හරි අරගෙන ඇති. එතකොට අපි දීපු 60යි වෙන කවුරු හරි දීපු 40යි එකතු කරලා තමයි මෙයාට 100ක් තීරලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට මේ දීපු 100න් 60ක් අපේ ඉතුරු 40 කාගේද? මෙයාට අනිත් ණයට දීපු අය. අපි මෙතනින් ගත්තොත් කාගේද? Other shareholders of S, that is reflected where? NCI of S. Debit 800. Debit 800. Investment. NCI of T. NCI of T, that is 832. මෙතන NCI එක අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ. මෙතන එක ෆිගර් එකක්වත් අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ. right? අපිට ඕන මේ තුන් දෙනාම අපේ group එක ඇතුළට ආව කවද? අපි අර රවුම් ඇතුළට ආව කවද? S වත් acquire කරගන්නකොටම T වත් අපි acquire කරගෙන. ඒතකොට T acquire වෙන්නේ අපිට නා. S ට තමයි T ව මෙදා acquire වෙන්නේ on 1st of April 2015. But if we consider P, right? P ට T ව subsidy එකක් වෙන්නේ on 1st of April 2016. 1st of April 2016. So as at that date, the NCI value of T Limited is 832. That is the figure we need to consider here. 832. මෙතන NCI එක කැල්කුලේට් එක ගත්තොත් වැරදි. ඇයි? P ට A වෙනකොට T subsidy එකක් නෙවෙයි. T ව P ට subsidy එකක් වෙන්නේ on this date, 1st of April 2016. එතකොට එදාට NCI value එක තමයි අපි consider කරන්න ඕන. Right? That is the NCI value that we need to consider. Net assets, again we need to consider this one. 1600, not here. Not this 1400. මෙයා නෙවෙයි. ඇයි? මේ වෙද්දි P ට T කියන්නේ subsidy එකක් නෙවෙයි. T was subsidy එකක් වෙන්නේ P ට කවදිනද? From 1st of April 2016. So as at that date, we need to consider the net assets of T. That is 1600 minus 1600. So as a result of that acquisition, the goodwill that has been generated is 432. 432. Right. What else need to be done? ඊට පස්සේ ඉතුරුලා තියෙන මොකද්ද? Post acquisition. Right? Post acquisition. So retained earnings of S as at 31st December 2018 here. As at December 2000, yes, as at 31st December 2018, retained earnings of S Limited, that is 2,500. 2,500. It's not 2,500. This one. As at acquisition date, what was the retained earnings of S Limited? Acquire කරගන්න දවස් කීයක් තිබ්බද? As at acquisition date, retained earnings of S Limited was how much? That is 800. 800. That is why this mapping is very important, right? Overall, අපිට view කරන්න පුළුවන් කවද්ද මොකද්ද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Then it is easier for us when we, right, preparing these consolidated statements as well. Okay. So after acquisition, they have earned how much of profits? Profits worth of 1,700. Profits worth of 1,700. Right. This 1,700 post acquisition profits we need to allocate between parent company shareholders and other shareholders. Parent company shareholders and other shareholders. Out of this 1,700, S company ka api acquire කරගන්නේ මෙදානේ. මෙදායින් පස්සේ S company කීයක profit හොයලාද? 1700ක profit හොයලා. මේ 1700න් අපිට කීයක් අයිතිද? 160ක්. 60% of this belonging to us. That is 1,020. The remaining 40% belongs to whom? Other shareholders of S, NCI of S. The remaining 40%. Likewise, we need to compute the post-acquisition profit of the other subsidiary as well, T company. Retained earnings as at 31st December 2018 of T Limited. T Limited take balance sheet date, take a retained earnings theorem 1,000. As at acquisition date, now tell me what is the figure I need to consider here? Is it 600 or 400? What is the figure I need to consider? 600 the gun on May 400 the May 600. What is the figure we need to consider here? What? Okay, someone is saying 600. What about others? 600, 600. What? Yes, we need to consider 600. Acquisition date ke liye right? We are preparing P Limited Group financial statement. P te meyaga IT වෙන්නේ කවදද දන්න? P ට T ව IT වෙන්නේ 2016 අප්‍රේල් 1 වෙනිදා ඉඳන්. එහෙනම් එදා තිබ්බ retained earnings තමයි consider වෙන්න ඕන. So the post acquisition amount is then 400. So this need to be allocated between parent company shareholders and NCI. Out of this 400, what is the percentage that need to be allocated to the parent company shareholders? ඔය 400න් P ට කීයක් යන්න ඕනද? නැත්නම් parent company ට කීයක් යන්න ඕනද? Yes, 48%. 48%. That is 192. The remaining 52% should be allocated to the other shareholders of T, which is reflected in NCI of T. Other 52%. And finally, we need to consider the parent company's year-end retained earnings amount. That is how much? Parent company's year-end retained earnings amount, that is 5,000. That is 5,000. Right. So here 5720 NCI of S, that is 1,400. Here 432 1,040. This one. Okay, so we can simplify. No adjustments, 24,000. Right, goodwill from the Birkin we can take. There should be two goodwill values. One is here and the other one is 432. Altogether it should be 6,152. Current assets, no any adjustment, 6,500. Therefore total assets should be 36,652. Retained earnings we can take from our Birkin. It should be 6,202. NCI, there should be two NCI values because we have two subsidiaries. Here is one, here is the other. Therefore, total should be this much. Liabilities, no any adjustments. We can take 14,000 as it is. Therefore, our balance sheet should balance at the figure 36,652. 36,650. Right? Example number 4. Statement of financial positions as at 31st December 2018 is given below. So we have separately given the balance sheets of P Limited, S Limited, and T Limited. And they have given us the acquisition information as well. So what we need to do, we need to prepare the consolidated statement of financial position as at 31st December 2018. So first, what we need to do, we need to map these given acquisition information, right? To get an overall idea, right? We need to map these given acquisition information, right? So what it says here, on 1st of April 2015, S acquired 80% of T. When T Limited's retained earnings stood at, and they have given a figure. Right. On 1st of April 2015, what has happened? Company S has acquired 80% of T. When T Limited's retained earnings, so what are the equity components here? That those are stated capital and retained earnings. So they say the retained earnings as at this date was 600. What should be the stated capital? T Limited's stated capital, that should be 2,500. This figure, 2,500. So altogether, 3,100 worth of net assets were there. What is the investment value? Investment in T, that is 3,000, right? That is 3,000. Investment in T, that is 3,000. And we need to determine the NCI as well. අපි දීපු ගමන් දන්නේ නැහැ නේ මේක පස්සේ අපි සබ්සිඩි එකක් අය කරගන්නවද මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ කියලා. So we will go with the given information, right? Given order. So first, in the first bullet point, they have said that on this date they have acquired this much of percentage of this company, and this is the investment amount, and these were the net assets. Those are the information they have given. So we have mapped those information. Then on 1st of April 2016, here, somewhere here, on 1st of April 2016, what has happened? P acquired 60% in T. Company P has acquired 60% in company S. දැනටමත් subsidiary එකක් තියෙන company එකක් acquire කරගන්නවා P Limited කවද්ද? On 1st of April 2016. They have acquired S, and already they have a subsidiary by now. S has their own subsidiary called T. So T also becoming a subsidiary for us from 1st of April 2016 onwards as a result of this acquisition. When the main acquisition එක නිසා T Limited කියන එකත් P Limited the subsidiary එකක් වෙනවා from 1st of April 2016. What is the investment value? That is 4,000. That is 4,000. As at the date of acquisition, the net assets of S Limited were stood at how? Retained earnings were 1,000. What about the stated capital? That is 6,000. That is 6,000. So altogether, the worth of net assets as at the acquisition date was 7,000. And we need to compute the NCI value as well. Right. So we are preparing this consolidated statement of financial position as at which date? As at 31st December 2018. Okay. What can you say about the group structure? What can you say about the group structure? This is again a vertical group structure is there. We can observe a vertical group structure, but I will write it horizontally here. Right? P has acquired, what is the percentage? P has acquired 60% in S, and S has acquired, what is the percentage? That is 80% in T. And what can you say about this? Effective holding percentages and NCI percentages. Company means the subsidiaries we are having, the company P is having, and their effective holding percentage and NCI percentage. There are two subsidiaries for company P. Those are S and T. If we take subsidiary S, what is the effective holding percentage? That is 60%. It means the NCI percentage should be 40%. When we take the subsidiary T, is T a subsidiary for company P? Yes. Our subsidiary has the control over T. It means we also can control T. If we can control T, T becomes a subsidiary for us. Right? Those stuff determining the investment status we have discussed. Right. If we take T, what is the effective holding percentage? Through S, we have got the control over T. So it should be what? 60% into 80%, that is 48%. If the effective holding percentage is 48%, the NCI percentage should be 52%. Right. Now, what is the matter here? See, these acquisitions does not has happened on this order. First, P company has not acquired its subsidiary. First, the subsidiary has acquired T company. First, S has acquired T. Then on a later date, only P company has acquired a company with its own subsidiary. Subsidiary එකක් ඉන්න company එකක් පස්සේ තමයි acquire කරගන්නේ by P Limited. So we are preparing P Limited's group financial statements. So T also become a subsidiary for P on which date? On 1st of April 2014. Sorry, 2016. එතකොට T Limited එකත් මෙන්න මේ P Limited group කියන group එක ඇතුළට එන්නේ කවද්ද? On 1st of April 2016. Right? So as at that date, we need to determine these acquisition information. Yes, S has acquired on an earlier date 80% in T. The investment value was 3,000, but the net assets we need to consider as at this date. The two equity components are stated capital and retained earnings. Stated capital does not change, 2,500, but with respect to T Limited, we should know what was the retained earnings amount as of this date, 1st of April 2016. දෙදස් April පළවෙනිදා T Limited වල retained earnings කීයක් තිබ්බද? That figure we should know. And in this sum, they have given the figure as 700. So altogether, how many worth of net assets were there? 3,200 as at 1st of April 2016. P ගේ subsidiary එකක් වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මෙදාට. එහෙනම් එන්න එදා වෙද්දී T ගේ net assets තිබිලා තියෙනවා 3200. So simply we can ignore these figures, right? These figures are irrelevant for us. We need to consider the acquisition information of T as at this date on 1st of April 2016. Right. NCI. NCI of S and NCI of T. NCI of S. What should be the value? NCI of S, what should be the value? As at this date, S Limited has total net assets worth of 7,000. Out of this 7,000, what is the NCI percentage? That is 40%. That is 40%. The amount should be then what? 2,800. NCI of S. What about NCI of T then? As at 1st of April 2016, where T become a subsidiary for P, T become a subsidiary for P. Right? T become a subsidiary for S on this date. But we need to consider what? The date where T become a subsidiary for company P. On 1st of April 2016, their net assets were 3,200. This into NCI percentage, that is what? NCI percentage is 52%. 3,200 into 52%, that is 1,664. 1,664. So we have mapped all the required acquisition information. Acquisition information map karagena given. Right. See, so by looking at this, we can take the big picture into our mind. Okay, on this date, this has happened, and on later date, we have acquired the subsidiary. So on that date, we should know the net assets of T as well. Based on that, we need to calculate NCI. So this is the group structure should be based on that. This is the effective holding and NCI percentage. This is actually what? The big picture. ගානේ සමස්තය අපිට ඔය මැප් කරපු ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් වලින් බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. කවද්ද මොකද්ද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. And we need to prepare group financial statements as at 31st December 2018. Right? කවද්ද මොකද්ද උනේ? තොර කොහොමද group structure එක හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ? Effective holding NCI කොහොමද determine වෙන්නේ? All these things we can see in one place. Right? So when the sum, right, when the sum is getting complex, it will be easier for you to refer this map and do the simplifications. ගාන එන්න additional information එකතු වෙලා අමාරු වෙද්දී උනත් මේ acquisition information base කරගෙන ඔයාලට ලේසියෙන් ගාන හදාගෙන ඉස්සරහට යන්න පුළුවන්. Right. Okay. We need to prepare consolidated statement of financial position. That is what we have ruled for. And in the workings, right, in the workings, what we need to have? We have two subsidiaries. For separate subsidiaries, we need to have what? For separate subsidiaries, we should have two columns each to calculate goodwill and NCI. To calculate goodwill and NCI. And the group retained earnings column. Okay. With respect to assets and liabilities, we do line by line addition. Non-current assets. So what it should be? Parent company 10,500, S Limited 6,200, T Limited 3,800. All together it should be 20,500. Goodwill we can take from our working number 1. Current assets here. So we have cash. Let me say cash. Cash 1,500 plus 1,300 plus 1,200. Altogether, it should be 4,000. When it comes to stated capital, we consider the parent company's year-end amount. That is what? That is 10,000. 10,000. Parent company year-end balance 10,000. Retained earnings will take from working number 1 and also the NCI value from working number 1. Liabilities, assets and liabilities, we do what? Line by line addition. So it should be 3,500 worth of total liabilities. Right. So here what we have done basically, we have done the line by line addition with respect to assets and liabilities. And in terms of stated capital, we have considered parent company's year-end amount. Then what? Then we can calculate the goodwill resulted from these two separate acquisitions. Right. So now we need not to bother on these. So we have mapped the information clearly. So based on this, we can compute our goodwill values. See, investment in S, NCI of S minus net assets of S. Investment in S, what is the value? In P has invested on S an amount worth of 4,000. NCI, there are a total net assets worth of this much. Out of that, 40% was 2,800. 2,800 NCI value. Net assets of S, as at the date of acquisition, the net assets of S Limited was stood at 7,000. Additional information that is book value of identifiable net assets will be equal to fair value of identifiable net assets. So actually what we need to consider here, fair value of identifiable net assets. It means, right, as a result of the action, if it leads to a fair value adjustment, we need to adjust for that and then consider the fair value of identifiable net asset figure. Right. So from this acquisition, have we generated any goodwill? No. Why? When we sum this up, the figure is a negative value. On a positive value, goodwill, but here we have got a negative value. So this is what then? This is not a goodwill, but this is what? Gain on bargain purchase. Gain on bargain purchase. TBP, gain on bargain purchase, right? 200. So this need to be transferred to where? This need to be credited to the group retained earnings account. Group retained earnings account. Okay. S acquire කරගන්න එකේ goodwill එකක් නෙවෙයි generate වෙන්නේ, gain on bargain purchase එකක්, parent company profit එකක් generate වෙන්නේ. Therefore we need to credit that 200 to the parent company. Group retained earnings need to be credited. Right. And then the second acquisition, T also becoming a subsidiary for P on 1st of April 2016. What is the investment value? Investment of T, NCI of T, and net assets of T. What is the investment value? Our subsidiary has invested 3,000. Our subsidiary ka invest karna 3,000. Subsidiary can we are company P. Right? So income we have. What is the controlling percentage we have over S? We have 60% of control over S. So we have a 60% of control over this 3,000. We invest karna 3,000 apita claim karana puluwan kiyadda? 60% of that. That is 1,500. 1,800. So 1,800 need to be debited to the cost of control account of T. 1,800 need to be debited. The remaining 1,200 කාගෙද? 160ක් අපේ ඉතුරු 140 කාගෙද? 40% of this 3,000, the 1,200 belonging to whom? Other shareholders of S. Other shareholders of S reflect where? Under NCI. NCI of S need to be debited by 1,200. 1,200. Right. NCI value. NCI value. See, all these figures we take from where? From the information we have mapped. That is 1,664. මෙදා තිබ්බ net assets වලින් 152ක් 1,664. 1,664. Net assets as said when the T limited becoming a subsidiary for P, it means on this date the net assets of T limited were stood at 3,200. So through the acquisition of T by P through S, it has been generated a goodwill of 264. මේ acquisition එකෙන් කීයක goodwill එකක් generate වෙලා තියෙනවද parent company එකට? 264. මෙයා නිකන් මෙයා තනියම ගත්තොත් S limited ට generate වෙන goodwill එක වෙන value එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. කොහොමද වෙන value එකක් වෙන්න ඕනනේ. But we are considering, we are preparing financial statements of P limited group. What a P limited generate 264 worth of goodwill through this acquisition, right? Okay, then what is the next thing that we need to do? Line by line addition kara, stated capital like parent company year end amount take a consider kara, right? We have computed the goodwill arise through these two acquisitions, and in first one we have determined that there is no any goodwill, but there is a gain on bargain purchase. So we have taken it, or we have credited it to the group retained earnings account, right? And through the acquisition of T, there is a goodwill generated for the parent company. So we have found the value. What is the next step we need to do? Yes, post acquisition, right? Post acquisition, retained earnings as at 31st December 2018. Key S limited. S limited's retained earnings as at 31st December 2018, that is 3,500. What about the retained earnings as at acquisition? As at acquisition, acquisition date එක කීයක් තියෙනවද? See here, S limited as at acquisition retained earnings 1,000. So the post acquisition amount is 2,500. This need to be allocated between whom? Between parent company shareholders and NCL. So out of this 2,500, 60% should belongs to the parent company shareholders, and the remaining 40% should belong to the other shareholders of S limited. It means NCI of S. Likewise, we need to find the post acquisition amount of T limited. Post acquisition amount of T limited. What about the retained earnings of T limited as at 31st December 2018? Retained earnings of T, that is 2,000. 2,000. Retained earnings as at acquisition, from the information we can take. T limited becomes a subsidiary for P on this date. Therefore, as at that date, the retained earnings of T limited was stood at 700. Therefore, the post-acquisition amount should be 1,300. This we need to allocate between whom? Parent company shareholders and other shareholders of T Limited. For the parent company, what is the percentage we need to allocate? T Limited's effective holding percentage is 48%. It means out of this 1,300, 624 need to be allocated to the group or the parent company shareholders. The remaining 52% out of this need to be allocated to the other shareholders of T Limited, that is NCI of T. NCI of T, 676. And finally, we need to consider the parent company's year-end retained earnings amount. That is what? Parent company T Limited's year-end retained earnings amount, that is 4,000. 4,000 to group retained earnings column. Right. Okay, so here we have a negative balance and we have transferred it to the group retained earnings column. So now goodwill has been generated through the acquisition of S. NCI of S, goodwill generated through the acquisition of T, NCI of T, and group retained earnings amount. Right. So we can simplify this. No adjustments here as well. Goodwill we can take from the working. Only acquisition when we are acquiring T, a goodwill has been generated worth of 264. So the goodwill value is 264. Cash amount 4,000. So the total assets value should be 24,764. Retained earnings from the working we can take, it should be this much, 6,320. NCI of S 2,600, NCI of T 2,340. Altogether it is 4,940. Liabilities 3,500. And again, what is the name we give for the summation of these two? Equity attributable to parent company shareholders. What should be the amount? 16,324. For that, once we add the NCI figure, then it will be equals to total equity. Right? Equity attributable to parent company shareholders and to the NCI. Okay, so total equity and liability also should be what then? 24,764. 24,764.